All right, friends, good morning. What day is it? Tuesday, March 24th, apparently. This is where we left off, so just always want to show that so I'm not skipping anything. Um, okay, here's the silly title page. Physics and cars. That's all you need. You don't need the other stuff. Physics and cars. Okay, today's a note day. There's lots of them, but it won't take me long. So you're going to pause this. And when you come back, the magnitude of static friction acting on rubber tire on a road surface depends on the surface area of the tire in contact with the road. More surface area, more friction. Passenger cars need traction for all kinds of weather. the grooves in the car, that's where water gets kind of pushed through. Car going too fast in wet conditions risks hydroplaning because the water doesn't have time to move through the grooves. Now you know. You ever see a mechanic kind of doing a car inspection, inspecting tires? They kind of stick their fingers in the grooves. I never knew what they were doing because I don't know anything about cars, but that's what they're looking for, making sure there's enough tread on that bad boy. Car brakes and ABS. You're going to pause, you can write it down. Good note taking. ABS system stop the car's brakes from locking up the tire completely, allowing the driver to retain some control and not skid out of control, because once that static friction is broken, there's less friction, right? So that's what this works against. I always tell Jackson, I think I told you guys this story, that between kind of swerving off the road and hitting a tree or hitting the car in front of him that cut him off or whatever, hit the car in front of you. That way you got somebody else paying for your insurance instead of you. All right, this is also probably where I would tell you a story about Rick in the winter, one of my old roommates, driving like a maniac, pumping the brakes because he's the worst driver I've ever seen. Great human being though. But I'm not going to tell you a story because it's not the same. It's just not the same. Am I talking loud enough? I'm at home, so my wife's working in the other room on some conference call. I hope you can hear me. If you can't, say something. Traction control. Electronic stability control helps the driver maintain control by slowing down faster turning tires and avoid spinning. Some of you will see in your on the dash of your car, it'll kind of show when the tires are slipping. That also lets you know what's going on. Electronic stability control may activate the anti-lock braking system by sensing oversteering or understeering in the tilt and turn of the car. But this is my own kind of version of the notes. It's kind of like, for those of you, if you've ever done live sound reinforcement, outside of auto-tune, someone isn't on, I don't know anything about music. If someone is out of key, someone at the board can be really good at sound mixing, but they're not going to fix that. All right, moving along. 13, 14, have I missed anything? 12, 13, no, good. Crash testing. Look, unfortunately, you're not going to get to see this crash test dummy hit the wall. Well, the dummy doesn't actually hit the wall. The car hits a wall and crumples up over and over while you take the notes. Sorry about that. Crash test dummies are used to accurately represent what would happen to a person during an accident. There are accelerometers, motion sensors, and load sensors placed throughout the dummy so they can see the kind of force in the neck, in the head, in the chest, the knees, all kinds of things. They measure the acceleration, how quickly the person accelerates negatively, and the kind of force that the damage that does to a body. Are you happy with all these notes? Is this fun? Is this the way you want to spend your Tuesday, March 24th in the AM? Seatbelts. Seatbelts, my friends, they're the best way to avoid injury. Early designs used to cause injuries because they were, well, it tells you why here. Two improvements. One, when the computer detects a crash, the pretensioner, that's a fun word to say it, pretensioner. The pretensioner reels the person in to the optimal position for a crash. And there's also a load limiter, so when tremendous force, like really, really, really hard crash, when tremendous force put on the belt, there's various ways the belt may loosen. For example, there's kind of sewn in, you'll see all the stitching, sewn in kind of extra buckle so it releases a bit. There's also this kind of metal bar that the belt is anchored on, and that bends with enough force to just give a little bit more kind of room to breathe, so to speak. Look at all these notes. Car body designs. Crumple zones in a car designed to slow down the impact. Just like this GIF, you know how you can see this in your imagination? This is kind of crumpling up. When that first started happening with cars, people were like, they don't make cars the way they used to. Things all crumple and I've got to get a new car. That crumpling saves you, buddy. That crumpling saves you. It takes the force so your body doesn't have to. So those really old tanks, you know, people say, oh yeah, I totaled another car, but my car's fine. Yeah, but people inside the car, not necessarily. So crumple zones in a car designed to slow down the impact. It's a slower negative acceleration, which means there's lower forces acting on you during impact. And various parts making a car lighter decrease the force of a crash as well. You ever see those big yellow barrels that are kind of in front of big kind of on the highway, on the perimeter, kind of they're around like signposts and the light posts and things like that. They're full of sand. You see them on bridges too, I think. Full of sand because it kind of acts as an artificial crumple zone. Instead of just hitting something solid, the sand is pretty solid, but it disperses and it helps slow down the impact. Cool, cool, cool. Oh, this means we're close. It means we're close. One more slide. Airbags. But look, do it. It helps, right? When people say relax, especially in that tone of voice that makes you relax. That's a joke. I wonder, like, do parents overhear me and think, I'm paying for this education? Okay, so this is the last slide of notes. An airbag gives a softer surface for a person on impact. Still pretty hard. Like, I've had a friend who's broken an arm on an airbag. Still pretty hard. Granted, it was a bad angle. Sensor causes sodium azide. I feel like that's been changed. I don't know if that's right. That doesn't look right. Double check your textbook. Maybe I'm gonna pause and come back. I'm gonna pause right now. That doesn't look right. Hey, guess what? That's right. It feels foreign to me in this moment. I think this quarantine is playing tricks with my brain. Anyways, there's a chemical reaction that produces nitrogen gas, which inflates the airbag at over 300 kilometers an hour. Super fast. But it also deflates super fast, just in case it goes off by accident. I had a buddy of mine as a mechanic, and he says in the shop they play around these things with cars that are totaled. They'll kind of detonate the airbag, see how far the thing goes in the air. I was going to get him to come by the school a couple of years ago, and then his boss caught on to what he was doing and said that was a no. So, oh well. Anyways, it's another example. Airbag is another example of slowing negative acceleration. Injuries can still occur, especially to children. You probably will see that on the back of visors and different things. Because of that force that it comes out at, if it comes out at the wrong angle for the wrong sized person, they are known to decapitate kids. Even like shorter people who are sitting in the driver's seat, like, you know, talking to you, Gavin, who have to sit really close to the steering wheel so they can reach the pedals, they have had their sternums cracked by the airbag because it comes out with such force. And when people are sitting that close, it is not safe. So yeah, fun facts, hey? Physics. Dun, dun, dun. No examples to do today because it's just this kind of knowledge. So enjoy yourselves, yes? Happy days.